Outside of Living Royalty, how was Will and Barry?
Will and Barry were your average two young sons. I always raised them to love each other and be there for each other. So when they were very young, they really showed somewhat of an entrepreneurship because they used to sneak to the store across a busy street without me knowing, buy candy and sell it at school. And I made them stop. Never did I dream that they would go from that to pursuing the fashion shows and having their own clothing line. But I think it started when they were young.
Supreme.
Coming to Living Royalty and seeing it for the first time, what was your first thought?
My first thought was, I know my sons had a desire of having fashion design. They both was competitive, who looked better than the other. So fashion was something that they both picked up, and they kind of picked up from me.
I see that.
So it's in the genes. But when they first started, and they came up and said that they wanted to do their clothing. So it was something that I always wanted to do, but they did it. Y'all got the talent to do it, hey, just put it together. I'm with you, I back you 100%.
In your own words, what inspired Living Royalty?
The will to be different and to be better. So just trying to do something that other people not doing and being able to create that.
I'll say, honestly, in like how it started, I feel like, and I got to give credit to Will. I feel like part of it, Will wanted a clothing line. I was kind of doing parties at the time and things like that. And so we both had resources. He wanted a clothing line and he was just like, let's come together and let's make this happen. So I was like, all right, let's do it.
I came to the first fashion show with my roommate. I didn't know nothing about it. I just started back modeling. And I'm looking at the show like, this is really dope. I want to be a part of the next one. So who do you talk to? Found out, talked to the person. I was on the next show. But yeah, it was the first show and I was in the audience as a VIP member. I went to the VIP part, got to experience drinking wine, having the fruit, just walking and talking with other people that was part of VIP. Then I got to come back, see the show, and it was just a great production.
First show, it was like, both of them was as like trial and errors, like everybody was scattered. Everybody was just, it was the on stage with our rehearsal. They was just like, you do this, I do that, do this, I do that. Well, you can't do this, I do that. And it was scary, but that's normal for your first one. I didn't think that brothers, the hardest thing to do is to get along with each other, but then to go into a business together with different thoughts and different mindset. I said, it's gonna be a tough one. But at the end of the day, they managed it and they brought it through. They came through on that first one.
Do you think the first show would have turned out the way it did once it was finished?
I think so. We put a good game plan together. We had the right team involved. I felt comfortable going into show day. Yeah, of course, there are mishaps that happen. This is our first one. But I felt very, very, very excited with, the turnout of the first one. And that's really what sparked us wanting to continue doing shows.
You had little hiccups on the first one, and y'all still get invited to New York Fashion Week. Do y'all feel like there's still a technical hiccup then?
Maybe like a little sneeze.
Okay.
The first show, he said he was confident, but I didn't know what to expect the first show. So for me, it wasn't really like necessarily, it wasn't necessarily like a hiccup. It was more like, dang, we got something. So for me, it was like inspiring, not necessarily like a hiccup.
They picked up a lot of traits from myself in their day. They picked up wanting to be independent, wanting to be successful. And then they're very loyal. If you're a friend of Barry's and Bill's, you know that they're very loyal to their friends. Well, they really turned out well. And I think they got a lot of their work ethics and stuff from me and their dad.
The defining trait would be Will and Barry's consistency,
Okay.
their dedication, the unwavering drive to not stop, no matter how many obstacles were thrown at them. They weren't just some randoms. You know, I've been a part of a lot of companies, in many magnitudes, but what they have is rare. Like I said, you know, they have a lot of qualities, and as far as their leadership, you know, as far as how they actually treat their coworkers, and the models even, the culture of the business. It was just so many things that made me feel like this is where I needed to be.
And to piggyback, like what's on some big names that y'all had at the very first show that y'all want to expect to come?
At the first show, I mean, we had Friendly Neighborhood. They had a song out at the moment. They were working with Waka Flocka. That was huge for us to have our first show and have them. Their song was definitely relevant. I think it just trended and did 1 million views or streams. So that was huge. And then we had some other artists as well. So we was just fortunate. It wasn't necessarily about the big names and things like that. It was just fortunate that this is something we believed in, we put the work in, and then we was able to accomplish it. So that was the biggest thing for us, is just seeing what we were capable of in year one.
They did so many unimaginable things. Every single year has been another level up, somehow. They've even secured major artists that I've even personally worked with. So seeing them be ingrained in the culture of Atlanta in this way, and besides that, being a beacon of light for the culture as well. They don't just get the biggest artists. They also get the artists that are making noise in the streets, that are making noise on the ground.
Industry artists.
Right. So having that position that they have, it's creme de la creme. It's top tier.
Y'all both gonna have to separate who's gonna do what. Everybody got a part to play, and you can't play the same play. And that was the most challenging thing, to watch them, to see them, because you know it's, if you feel like you doing more than the other one, it comes to seem like you ain't doing anything, and one person can't do it all. And they worked together, and I was there in the back scene and explaining to them and say, hey, look, at the end of the day, it's y'all two. This is your pet peeve. Y'all can make it work, or not make it work, but at the end of the day, y'all both got to work together. And gradually, that's what they saw. They took my advice, and it's 10 years later.
Living Royalty became a family of mine, actually. First, it was just something that I went to, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be a part of this. Then I became a part of it, and it was just like, this is my family. I could see us getting this far, but I really didn't know the vision. I was just like, okay, this is an up and coming. I really want to see where this goes. I hope it goes long. But honestly, I'm surprised. I'm happy at how long we've gone. I love the longevity we have produced. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Anyone who creates knows that period of time. When you first start, you're lost. You know, you're not even sure if you're on the right track or if you're going to succeed. But here we are.
You're right. What's the difference between the both?
They're different as night and day. And I have to tell them all the time that I love them the same, because I do. Barry is your white collar. You know, he gonna go to work with the suit on. When you see him, he's gonna have the suit on, and he wants to be businessman. Barry, as his Instagram name is, and he likes to live up to that. William is your blue collar. He's gonna work. He's gonna be the one that wants to fix things and figure things out. Barry's gonna try to figure it out with his mind, finagle. Bill is going to try to figure it out by physically doing it. So when I say they're different as night and day, they really are. But they know, and I tell them all the time, they need each other to make this work. They need each other. The difference is what brings everything together.
Businessman Barry.
Yes, sir.
Where did that name come from?
I've been doing business in a sense since like middle school. Like I was that kid that was selling candy to the classmates, getting candy from the Family Dollar, doubling it up in class. I was that guy that was dressed up in high school, middle school, men of distinction. So just dressing up, being what society would see as being a man and things like that, like just being professional. I learned that at a young age, and so when I got to college and I got involved in things like that and the way that I moved, sometimes people would just be like, dang, like, yo, are you a business major? And I'm like, nah, like, so a lot of people thought that I was a business major. I never was a business major. I didn't major in business. I was actually a history major, which is crazy. But just people, the view of it and, just how I carry myself, how I handle myself, Businessman Barry, it kind of flowed. And so people took a knack to it.
Year 2, what was some of y'all game plans that y'all were preparing for?
For me, it was really still figuring it out.
When you say figuring out, like exactly what are you figuring out?
Like model calls, I think early on it was more so like us. You get what I'm saying? So we actually doing the model calls and taking the names and taking the emails and stuff like that. So we really preparing for now, honestly, back then. So we can basically, it's like if you own a franchise, you got to learn all the different jobs. And if you want to own a McDonald's, you got to be a cook. So I guess it was really like that.
For me, it was the fear. It was the fear of, we had a successful show, and how do you compete with that? How do you reenact that? You get what I'm saying? Was it a fluke, or was we really meant to be doing fashion shows? So for me, that fear, you can talk about the confidence of year 1 and things like that, but the fear came from year 2. Because year 1 went well, and it was like everybody's coming to year 2 to see the same, if not better.